I feel like I'm extremely lucky. There's no universe in which I'm happier than I am today.
When you think about money, Michael, what is money?
Freedom,
Freedom. Freedom from what? Or freedom for what?
whatever you want to do. Not having to play that game is the ultimate form of freedom for me. And we want to enrich our employees financially, spiritually, and emotionally. That is our mission.
Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Michael Batnick. He's an author, an amazing podcast host, managing partner at Ritholtz Wealth, and more. We're digging into some important things today. How to spend our money, freedom, and time so that we can have a successful life both at work and at home. Something that really stood out to me during this conversation with Michael is his deep obsession for living for the now, for today. You'll also hear him share some great, wise advice from his mother on the power of kindness and how it can help you be successful at work and beyond. Before we get into this conversation, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app and leave us a review. It really helps and we appreciate it. Let's get into it. Michael, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm looking at your room here on an empty wall, and I thought I would go back to when you're 18 years old, and those walls perhaps are full of posters or pictures or something that represented Michael and what was going on at that time in his life. What would be a poster, a picture that would have been on your wall?
18 years old. Unfortunately, my sports teams both sucked to varying degrees at that time period. So this is 2003. I was big into weed back then, I guess. So maybe super bad. But if you rewound it a little bit earlier, I was like a huge NBA fan. That was like my
Okay.
obsession. So as I've grown up, I've spent less time on Inside the NBA with Inside the NBA and get most of my NBA news from Bill Simmons. But I was obsessed with the NBA growing up. And then 18, honestly, 18 is like a hazy period for me because in all seriousness, like I genuinely was a pothead, but also my mother was sick and dying. And so that was just like a dark, not great period for me. So a lot of haze.
A lot of haze.
Yeah.
You mentioned about your mother. I read in an article, I can't recall what you titled it, but the hierarchy of happiness is what my mind is recalling from there. What can you touch on the hierarchy of happiness from Michael's perspective and what significance or meaning does that have on you?
It definitely wasn't the hierarchy of happiness, but what do I think about when I think about my mother and happiness and all that sort of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of thoughts. I think for better or for worse, of course your parents have a huge impact on who you become as a person. Massive. And I'm no exception to that. But I also think that a lot of who you are is just how you were born. And you can't choose how you were born. So my demeanor, my personality has nothing to do with my parents. My parents got divorced when I was 6, definitely had a big impact on my life, for sure. But my personality is just, it's how I was born. So my personality tends to be for better, and definitely there was for worse. Like Josh said this about me the other day. I never really thought about it this way, but I am obsessed with today. I am not somebody that plans for the future, as evidenced by me getting kicked out of college twice. I always thought that things would be okay. I'm not worried about anything. And that's not a personality that I chose. And there's some parts of it that I love and that I'm really happy that this is who I am. But there's other parts of it that make this sort of life personality very difficult. And so I paid the price for not giving a shit about anything. I just didn't care. Like I wasn't motivated by grades, and I was always like a happy person. And so I'm rambling at this point. How do I think about happiness? I don't know. Where do you want to go with that question?
I'm actually, you said something that's really interesting, obsessed about today, but it jarred into me, the article, everything I am. I think
Ah,
was but obsessed about today. In a day and age where we're obsessed about tomorrow, whether it's the markets, the returns, what my portfolio is going to look like tomorrow, is there some levity to being obsessed about today just to focus on today?
well, there is definitely a reduced level of stress and anxiety because who cares about the future? And and a part of that is my personality that I was born with, but it definitely got reinforced by my mother dying at 56. Like that definitely had
Mhm.
a massive impact on how I think about the future and living for today and maybe overdoing it in some cases. But um the flip side of that is not thinking about the future. Like I got lucky meeting Josh. Like that was a 1 in a million chance encounter. Maybe not 1 in a million. We're in the same town, so 1 in 700,000 or whatever, however many people are in town. But if and so reflect on like luck and happiness, and I think that meeting Josh was obviously dumb luck, and then the rest I will take. I'll pat myself in the back for what we've built together. I don't think that was luck. Uh, but if I didn't meet Josh, my attitude of everything's going to work out. Now maybe it would have worked out in some other respect, but maybe not. Like
Mhm.
there's definitely an alternate universe where things are not going well for me. Um, and so I think that if you roll my life 1,000 times, the dice 1,000 times, like I landed on the 1%, maybe the top 1% of 1%. Um, and that is never lost on me. I think I wake up every
Mm.
day and I just can't believe how blessed I am. That I've never wanted more than I have. Again, like for everything, there's trade offs, right? But it really bothers me when rich people say I was never motivated by money because, hey, asshole, if you didn't have money, you'd be motivated by it. Like it's just always struck me as nonsensical. Um, Now I truly was never motivated by money because I have evidence. If I was motivated by money, I would have taken myself, my life, my studying seriously. But I didn't grow up around money. Like my dad was a dentist. He did fine, but he was supporting my family. I have two siblings. He was supporting his parents, so we definitely, I didn't want anything. I was fine. I mean, I wanted some things I couldn't have, but I was fine. My mother had no money, so there was a bit of a confusion between living with her and then being with my dad on the weekends and being able to like order two DVDs at Blockbuster felt like luxury. So I didn't grow up around money. I never really knew what it was and didn't really think about it that much. And so anyway, just circling back to the point of like happiness, I can't believe what I have and how happy I am to have it. So I'm not one of those people that moves the goalpost. I'm not one of those people who says, how much do you need? Just like 2x more is the average answer. I love what I'm doing. I love the people that I work with. I love the clients that we're serving and love my friends and family. I feel like I'm extremely lucky. There's no universe in which I'm happier than I am today.
Awesome. I mean, what an answer. I mean, people spend a lifetime studying gratitude and how do you implement gratitude. You just sound like it's baked into the bones of that Long Island boy.
Yeah, yeah. I know it sounds ridiculous to say. I've never said this out loud, but I do feel like I've like cracked the code, whatever that was. And from a young age, I've always just had a good head on my shoulders. Um, some of that is definitely my parents, and some of that is just what I was born with. And so, yeah, it sounds weird, but I feel I'm fully content. Nothing, don't need anything else.
That is good. I mean, as a Canadian guy, we have these observations or stereotypes of New York and the hustle and bustle in the finance world where everyone wants more. It's nice to hear that from you.
Yeah. Now, the other side of my personality is I am highly motivated and highly competitive now that I found what
Mm,
I want. And
mm,
I want everything for my people. And so I want everyone who works with me, with us, to be able to say what I'm saying. And so there is still like, I don't want my contentness to come off as like I am satisfied because I'm not.
mm.
I'm definitely not satisfied. And it's not because I have like any desire for material possessions or um, wealth for the sake of it. Like it's not that, but I'm competitive. I want to win and I want my people to win. And so highly motivated to make sure that happens.
Is the motivation coming from making an impact on the good work that you guys are doing?
The motivation is coming from primarily two sources. Number one, I want to do a great job for our clients, like first and foremost. And then number two, or 1A, 1B is I want my people to be rewarded financially. And I know that they're rewarded professionally because we provide a great environment for them to work. respect, openness, honesty, collaboration, like all of those sort of things, full support. But I want my people to not want for anything financially. And that is a huge source of what gets me fired up every day. And then like also just like anybody else, I want to win and I'm competitive. And I think that not just for the dollar's sake, but like if you're not growing, you're dying. And I don't know any other way to like describe my philosophy, as cliche as it sounds.
Humans, we've evolved to want to continue to grow. I mean, it's baked into our DNA. You mentioned Josh pointed out that you're obsessed about today. Perhaps you've rubbed off, maybe, I don't know at all, I don't know him, on having him maybe take some of those traits of being obsessed about today. In your partnership and friendship, what have you learned from him as you've come into this role and led a whole team and all the clients?
The first thing that comes to mind is I am very relaxed. I'm like intense and relaxed at the same time, which I know is a paradox. It doesn't seem to make sense. But one of the things that Josh is really good at is having urgency when there needs to be a sense of urgency and not letting things just get done tomorrow. I am a chronic putter-offer, which is not a great quality at all. There's nothing good about it. And he's the opposite, especially with things that matter. Like, why isn't this done yesterday? And like any other partnership, sometimes it pisses me off and sometimes there's clashes and frictions. But like on those things, he's absolutely right. If there's something that needs to be done yesterday, I'm on board with that.
You guys are leading such a great organization, and the content, you guys are doing a great movement here, huge impact. I've talked to a lot of leaders who have 2, 3, 4 people at the top, and navigating these different personalities at times can be challenging. I just heard you like have, one hand, it annoys you, but the other side, you respect it, and he's right. How do you guys, whether it's you and Josh or whomever in your professional career, how have you found navigating these relationships when there's 2 leaders who perhaps have differing visions to some respect?
Yeah, well, there's 4 co-founders here and definitely a lot of lieutenants who are critical key employees. I'm pretty self-aware of what my strengths and weaknesses are, and I could spend an hour talking about my weaknesses. One of the things that I'm very, very good at, like elite, I am very good at understanding people to their core. And I know how my partners will react to everything before I say it. And I think this came from my parents. My brother and my sister and myself, we are very, very different people, each of us. We're very different. And our parents treated us differently, as I believe was appropriate. People are different, and what works for one person doesn't work for everybody. People are motivated differently, they're wired differently. And so I, at a young age, developed a very strong sense of, I don't know if empathy is the right word here, but understanding who people are and what their motivations are and how they'll respond to different situations. And so I am the glue that keeps this band together. And it's hard. I mean, we're all strong personalities, and we're not all the same age, like different aspirations, and we're at different places in our life. So it's not easy. And it's a miracle that we made it work.
Navigating personalities is not easy. It's not easy. And it sounds like, you have this emotional awareness to understand how people are going to react, which, it's key.
Definitely one of the hardest challenges of growing and scaling a business, for sure. And that's not unique to us, by the way. That is, I love my partners. Could not have done any of this without them. But that's just universal. People are messy. It's hard.
People are messy. I ask that because this is a consistent thing that I hear from different organizations that I chat with. And especially when you become friends in the business context, we're messy individuals, and you add 2, 3, 4 people, it's going to get messy. Got to deal with it.
Yep.
I want to go back to the 18-year-old. Perhaps
I
maybe
don't.
a little.
Can we please not? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Well, let's go back to the high part. You're sitting there. You're having a good old joint, and you all of a sudden get a flash to Michael today. He's a massive thought leader, running a couple very successful podcasts, managing partner at your firm, author, so many great things. What would that younger version of you say to you if he had to give you one statement?
Not surprised.
Not surprised. Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm being facetious. I could not have really imagined this beyond my wildest dreams. However, I genuinely did always believe that this is going to happen for me. Too much so that I completely ignored everything that the traditional things that have to happen, that you have to make happen in order for you to be here, right? Hard work, networking, internships, the traditional route. Like, I just ignored all of that. But I don't know if I'm a psychopath in that way, but I really always had this unshaken, unwavering internal confidence that I was about to say destined and sound like the biggest douche in the world, but
No.
I don't know what to say. I always had unshakable faith in my abilities to navigate life.
Sounds like a good book to follow up your other one.
There's no time for that.
Not to get psychological,
And
but
I don't think anybody wants to read 200 pages of me patting myself on the back.
Unless you did in a way that people see themselves. But this internal locus of control, it's this idea that we have an unwavering belief in ourselves. And that's what I hear from you. And it just sounds like you believed in yourself and you just continued to go down the path of believing what Michael wants, and dumb luck or whatever you called it. You got what you wanted in a way. It's interesting. All right. I want to shift gears to the work you're doing. If you had to pick, and this isn't a fair question because you don't, but if you had to pick behavior over brilliance when it comes to our money, which one would you pick?
I think you know my answer. It's not particularly close. Everybody's smart.
Say that again?
I said everybody's smart. There's no edge in being a little bit smarter or even a lot smarter. We have computers now. Everybody's smart.
Everyone's smart. So you're going with behavior.
Yes.
When you look at the evolution of your thinking, was it always behavior? Were there points where you're like, no, we got to go understand the nuance of the markets. We got to dive into the brilliance. Or were you always confident?
Yeah, I think like everybody else who picks up the Intelligent Investor, you know, or anything, you think that I'm gonna solve the market. There's a puzzle, and there's a code to be cracked, and I'm the one to do it. Now, I think it was chapter 4 in the Intelligent Investor. I can't remember exactly which one, but like the Mr. Market chapter, and I was like, oh, okay. So, a lot of this is behaviorally based and not being irrational. But I got very lucky because in 2008, when I really started to pay attention, I was on Twitter and StockTwits, and immediately, like, I have a very good bullshit detector, and I just saw very quickly that everybody was full of shit. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I became disillusioned pretty damn quickly about how difficult it was to beat the market. One of the best things that I ever did, and my friend Brian Lund was the inspiration for this. I remember him tweeting, this is probably 2010, 11, keep a trading diary. And I did. And I wrote down every trade that I made, and I wrote down why I did it. And I think I still have it. Ben and I actually did a session on this on the podcast one time where I went back and I read what I wrote, and it's comical. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, but you can't lie to yourself if it's your own handwriting. And so I saw it and I followed it, and I didn't stop cold turkey, but like I pretty quickly realized that I wasn't going to be the next Paul Tudor Jones.
But this time it's different. We have
Maybe.
AI.
Hey, you never know.
I can look everything up online, and it can tell me.
Yeah, hope springs eternal. Absolutely.
What was that? Hope what?
Hope springs eternal is the phrase.
Yeah. You must get so many questions. I've been hearing a lot lately about AI is going to help me. Here's the time. The time's now. We got a small window of opportunity to really leverage AI to find the gaps and make money in this market.
Leveraging AI or like playing the AI trade?
Using AI to teach me how to do the trades.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
I think that whatever tools are available, like, and a lot of them are wonderful, and a lot of people are making a lot of money right now. This has been a very good environment for risk taking, and I love to see it, but everybody's the same tools.
Mm-hmm. Everyone does. When you think about money, Michael, what is money? You've had this career of exploring it. What is it to you?
Freedom,
Freedom. Freedom from what? Or freedom for what?
whatever you want to do.
Whatever. Okay. What's freedom for Michael?
Freedom is, well, our industry is uh, under assault from the private equity vultures, and they're not all vultures. I'm sort of half teasing. But I have the freedom to go a different route. And people are playing one game of scale, and we're trying to get there too. But more money, more deals, more integrations. But of course, there's a cost to that, right? Like a very real, a human cost, a business cost, client cost, all that sort of stuff. So having the freedom to be able to attract advisors that are on board with our message, that want to be part of the mission, and not having to raise money in order to pay them big fat bonuses to come here. I can't think of better freedom than that. Not having to report to investors about how their money is doing. Yep, we're putting it to work, buying more advisors. Not having to play that game is the ultimate form of freedom for me.
Beating to your own drum, hey? What is the mission? You mentioned mission. He's on a mission back there, or is that a girl?
She is.
She digging away.
Yep. What is the mission?
What is the mission?
We want to be one of the most well-respected advisory firms in the nation. We want to kick ass for our clients, and we want to enrich our employees financially, spiritually, and emotionally. That is our mission.
I'm so curious. Can you expand on that? I really like those pieces: financially, emotionally, and spiritually.
I want my people. I've made a lot of promises that I will never slow down. Maybe I will one day. I'm a relatively young man. But I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't doing this. When I'm on the train at 5:30 at night and I look around and see people sleeping, I'm still on my computer. I love that I am relentless. And again, it's not a personality that I chose, but I am. I'm never sitting on the couch scrolling. Like I'm always, people ask me a lot, like, how do you find time to do everything that you do? And it's because I'm highly driven and I make the time, and there's not a lot of time for other things. But I am incredibly efficient. If you were to look over my shoulder on my day, you would say that this person is a psychopath. Like, what are you even doing? What is happening? Screens all over the place, messages all over the place, emails all over the place, calendars all over the place. But a lot of that, and I'm not trying to, come off as Mother Teresa. Obviously, I'm self-interested like everybody else, but I'm good. Like I really genuinely want the nothing makes me happier than seeing my people's income go up. Like nothing.
Mm-hmm. They have the opportunity then to use that money for their own freedom.
That's right.
Creating freedom in others. You talked about your employees and the people working with you. How about the clients, the end user of your clients? Or you touched on the mission to them, but what are they feeling differently with your firm?
So I don't know that this is unique to us. I think that this is the job of the advisor. The job of the advisor is to give people their freedom, that we got it. We understand that money comes with a lot of emotions, anxiety, fear, greed, everything in between. A lot of one of the biggest reasons why people hire an advisor is to offload that burden. That's our job. We feel it every day. Maybe not in markets like this, but But our job is to let them live their life, not have to log into Fidelity 3 times a week, not have to worry every time the market falls 5%, am I going to be okay? What's the plan? I mean, that's it. That's our job, is to make sure that clients are going to be okay financially. And if they're not, what do we have to do to make sure that they are okay? And one of the things that we like doing most is encouraging our clients to spend their money. Again, not unique to us, but there's a lot of money out there, and there is a mentality that is understandably very difficult to reverse, which is spent my entire life earning and saving, and now I'm no longer earning, and you're telling me to spend. And there's all sorts of emotional aspects of that. But when we have somebody who's got $8 million, and they're 73 years old, and they are waiting to do something that they want to do for fear of whatever, it's like, no, you're not waiting. You want a Ferrari? Buy a Ferrari. You want that house? Buy that house. You want to give more money to charity? Great, let's do that. But you can't take it with you.
You can't. And as we touched on, sometimes this journey's short. Gotta enjoy, be obsessed with the moment when we can. What are ways that you have seen help people, like people listening? The client you just described is not unique to that client, that it's hard to spend money at times. What are ways that you guys think about this or help clients actually spend their money? I know you said buy a Ferrari, but in other cases.
Yeah, that's a bit of an extreme example.
Yeah.
I can't really speak to that. I'm not an advisor, so I'm not on the front lines telling these people what they should or shouldn't do with their money. But I think it's breaking them down. It's not going to be one conversation where, although maybe in some cases it is. They've never been given permission. As simple as it sounds, like, you're going to be fine. We've planned for this.
Hi, it's Sean. I know I'm breaking into the conversation just for a moment. There's good reason. If you're here, it means you care about living with more purpose, more meaning, and deeper connection. And that's exactly what the YouPotential podcast is all about. When you hit that subscribe button, conversations like this, the ones that challenge you to think differently and open to new possibilities, keep showing up to you every week. And when you share this episode with someone you care, you're not just passing along a podcast. You're giving them a chance to reflect, to grow, and maybe even to reimagine what a good life can look like for them. So please take a second, subscribe, share it with a friend. Let's spread the conversations that truly matter. Now back to the show.
Yes, spend that money. I mean, when you have it, you might as well spend it to enjoy this life that we got. Your book, I want to switch over to your book now. What was the impetus to write this book? I've heard you talk about time is, you don't have all the time sitting around scrolling because you're a busy guy getting things done. What made you decide to allocate the time to write this book?
Yeah, I had more time in 2016 when I wrote the book. A lot of that was ego. Like, that's really it. Given that I was not that far removed from absolute nothingness in terms of career and potential career opportunities, I was unemployed 4 years earlier. And so to me, it was an unbelievable honor that somebody felt that I was capable of writing a book. And so that was it. I thought the book was a decent idea. I don't think that I haven't read the book. I'm guessing I would probably cringe a lot given that I wrote it so long ago. Like, I'm sure it's not the best book in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm happy I wrote it. And yeah, I wouldn't write another one. But, well, I don't know if I wouldn't. I have no plans of writing another one. Not super interested in that, but yeah, I'm happy I did it. Like I said, it was nothing more than, like, it was just really good for my ego.
I like how you say that, unapologetic. Some people hide, like, oh, I didn't do it for my ego.
That's
Do you
the
think,
truth.
is it, sorry, what's that?
No, that's the truth. And
Yeah.
I'm very proud of where I am and what I've accomplished. And, Yeah, I'm not afraid of like saying that it was for me to make myself feel better about myself, because I spent a lot of years feeling really shitty about myself. And if I was able to do that for myself, then I was happy to do it.
Yeah. I it's hard to say we don't do things for the ego, and to your point, hey, you did it. You do a lot of content. So when I say content, you're writing. I couldn't help but think when you said you smoked a lot of pot. Often I find, at least up in Canada here, when people are high, they write a lot. So my mind was drawn to comparison there. But
No, actually, so the
regardless,
irony is that like weed was the worst thing in the world for me. I
oh,
heard
okay,
once Elon Musk described it as coffee in reverse, and that's what it does. It just drained me of any motivation. It really just turned my brain off. It was not healthy. So
it's
no,
not
I am not one of those functioning potheads that was
yeah.
able to like live their life and be creative. I was genuinely the guy on the couch.
Okay, the guy you aren't anymore. So
Yep.
that wasn't the impetus to writing and blogging. You're a content guy. And I don't know if you don't like that word. Some professionals I've talked to don't like the word content, even though they're producing a lot of information then. When I look at what you guys are doing, I see such a community you're building in content, knowledge, or a sense of belonging for the people that follow you guys. What how do you think about this? Creating a sense of belonging and community with everybody that follows all the different streams you have.
Yeah, it's interesting to so I don't do a lot of these conversations where I'm just talking about myself. Um, I don't find it to be uncomfortable. Like I'm perfectly fine sharing, but a lot of these questions that you're asking me, I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about because I'm
Yeah.
just doing them. So it is interesting to think about an answer and reflect on how do I think about content as it relates to myself being a content creator? How do I think about the audience that we're
I I I'm
building?
I don't like to interrupt, but I think it's necessary here. You're to a level where people wear T-shirts about you.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't mind being a content labeled a content creator. I am. I mean, I think that's secondary to what I'm here for, which is like my actual day job, which is running Ritholtz Wealth Management. But certainly the content is a large part of what we're doing. It's a large part of our branding and our everything. So it is. Um, as far as the audience building part of it, I am a lifelong Howard Stern fan.
Sure.
And one of the reasons why Howard was so successful in building a tremendous audience was his openness and his vulnerability and his ability to laugh at himself and embarrass himself. Now, I can only go so far because I am running a business and I have to be at least somewhat professional. I can't veer too far into clown territory. And I'm happy that I don't have that option because I think I would if I could. Um, but I So I think that Ben and I do a lot of personal stuff on the show, and it's not by accident. Like it wasn't like, oh, people like this, I should do it more. Like I knew that they would like it because that's what I like, and I have a pretty decent barometer of what audiences enjoy. And then as far as people deciding to stick with us and to give us a shot, it means the world because I myself consume a hell of a lot of content, and I know that there's only 24 hours in a day, and it's not you're not listening to us or a different um, advisors podcast, or maybe you are. I can't imagine you listen to that many advisor podcasts. It's us or The Ringer or Rogan or whatever. And so I don't take it for granted. It does. Again, I don't think about it this way that often because it's weird to be that introspective. I think, but the fact that people are sitting on their couch watching me on YouTube, yeah, it is kind of wild.
Yeah. You guys created not only are they sitting on their couch, but at Future Proof, I'm hearing people like having dinner conversations about what they watched on the couch. As you guys think about your firm navigating the future, all came back from Future Proof and you guys have such a big impact on there. How do you envision the firm, if it is evolving, if it needs to evolve towards what the consumers really want? We just touched on content. I think this is one of them that you guys are nailing. Is there anything else that you see?
On the content side or the business side?
Business side.
Yeah. Um, I would say for the first 9 years, 8, I don't know, hard to put a pinpoint on this. Let's say 7 to 9 years. There was a lot of, not a lot of, there was definitely like, all right, we're figuring it out as we go, for sure, like any other business. Um, and if you said to me like, all right, you're going to be at close to $7 billion towards the end of 2026. If you said that to me in 2018, I probably would have said like, okay, maybe, I guess. I'm not sure how we would do that. But now any of those doubts or fears or whatever, like I don't have them anymore. I've never been more confident in what we're doing and where we're going. And we have the right people and we have the right audience and we have the right products and services. And it's never been more clear to me. Now, of course, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be fires. There's always a problem. I mean, my day is nothing but problems, and that's a blessing. If we were a smaller company, there would be significantly fewer problems. But I feel very, very, very confident in our vision for the future of what we're doing here.
How do you see experiences fitting in there, if anything at all?
Do you mean future proof or live events or what exactly?
Yeah, like more experiential experiences. So future proof would be an example of that. Maybe more. I mean, we zoomed to Zoom meetings online during the pandemic, took away the human relationship to some degree. So yeah, more human experience. Do you
Yeah,
see that fitting in?
I love being with my people and being around new people. I don't like being in large groups of strangers. That's like my nightmare, but I do like being around my people. And I travel a lot. I don't know how much more experiences I can have. I was just in the last 3 weeks, I was in Boston, Austin, and Charlotte, and I'm ready to take a break before going to Vegas in a couple of weeks. But yeah, no, I love that I get to travel only for things that I want to travel for. None of this is mandatory. I have the ultimate freedom. Getting back to what we said earlier, I do what I want to do and go where I want to go and when I want to go. So, but yeah, I'm all about it. I think that the pandemic was very weird, and I think that we're still underestimating how weird it was and how different life is. And I don't think there's ever any going back to normal, what it was before. There's a clear line in the sand for me. There's a before and there's an after.
You talked about experiences for yourself. How about from the firm's perspective on experiences for clients that you're serving? I know you're not dealing exactly with the clients one-on-one. However, I'm hearing more and more clients wanting more experiences. That maybe that's not festivals like Future Proof, but a version of a client client experience like
Yeah.
that.
So we do that. We visit our hubs. We go to Charlotte and Chicago and Los Angeles, and we see people all over the country. And I don't know how much more of that we can do, to be honest. It's a lot. It's already a lot. We do, I don't know, half a dozen a year. But yeah, we're doing it. And when we're there, we love seeing our clients. Absolutely.
When you think about Future Proof, I mentioned a couple times, what, if anything at all, lights you up about Future Proof?
All of it.
All of it?
I remember talking to Matt very vividly about his ideas and what he wanted our inclusion to be. And I don't know if I can't believe. Yeah, I could say I can't believe, because I can't believe how big it is. I'm not surprised that it's successful, but it's unbelievable. And I was this year in California. I was in the pool with Josh and Ben, or maybe upstairs having a drink before we went down to the main opening night festivities. And I said, guys, this is our 4th year here. I've done a bunch of these. I don't know how many more I got in me. I don't know if I still want to be doing Future Proof in 2028, which I guess would be 3 more in California. And then we walked downstairs around that staircase that goes to the main event, and I saw a couple thousand people, and I turned to Josh and Ben and I said, never mind. I think I could do this until 2028.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. It gives me a lot of pride in what we've created, and I don't want to take too much credit for that because that is definitely Matt and his team. But yeah, we were there from the beginning, certainly, and not too small of a part of it, but they deserve the lion's share of the credit for sure. But I'm very proud of what we've built, what they've done. It's really incredible. And
Yeah,
also
it's
selfishly, I love that it exists. I mean, we did this because events sucked and nobody wants to be in a hotel ballroom. It's just depressing. So this is the way. There's definitely no going back.
That's a good thing because it is great. I mean, everything. The attention to detail, how much interaction you have with people, the music, the food. I mean, I tell people I went to a conference and Bush was there. They're like, "What? Don't you work in the financial industry?" Um, Online, I read. Do you have children?
I have 2 boys.
You have 2 boys. Okay, I want to ask a question on as they grow up. What do you hope they believe to be true about money?
Ooh, it's a question. Um, so they're growing up in different money circumstances than I did. Right? We go on vacations. They've got more than what they want, more than what they need. But I am trying very hard to make sure that they understand the value of a dollar. The other day, I tried to get my 8-year-old to pay $20 to rent Superman. I think it was Superman. Oh, so over the summer when he got back from camp. And my wife was like, "What are you doing? When you take him to the movie theater, you wouldn't make him pay $20 to go see Superman." I was like, "I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to teach him." So, yes, I am very cognizant about their relationship with money, how they think about what we have, what other people have. I want them to be good people, and certainly appreciating money and not taking it for granted and not judging people by how much or how little they have is like it's all part of it. So, yeah, I think about it a lot.
You mentioned to me earlier about that unrelentless desire in yourself to just believe Michael can do it. That internal control is a really important skill. I ask this because I'm a father. My kids are actually just 1 year older than yours, at 9. How, if anything, do you think about gifting that skill to your kids? Can we? This is a me question now.
Yeah, no,
For
I'm not going to pretend to be like the
me.
greatest dad in the world. I mean, I think one of the great things for me about life right now is I'm here every day for the most part, and so
Mm.
even though I am often distracted and probably work a little bit too much, um, being able to put them on the bus in the morning, give them a hug when they come home every day, to me that counts for like a lot, and it me it's
Yeah.
rationalizing, makes me feel better about some other decisions that I make. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said at the top of the show, I think unfortunately, a lot of it is just the personality you're born with. And Kobe,
Mhm.
my 8-year-old, has my spilkus is the Yiddish word, which is like my antsiness and my distraction, and my overconfidence. And I hope it serves him, at least in childhood, better than it served me, because those are not the greatest traits to have, especially for a little boy to be overconfident and annoying. Um, and my other son is very different, as I'm sure your kids are not,
No. Yeah.
right? So we didn't treat them any differently, but they came out different. And so I'm going to do my best to make sure that I do treat them differently because they are different. And I'm going to support them in different ways and just do the best I can.
I have a kid who will sprint full speed across the street, busy street, not even look, not even a care in the world. My daughter will stop, put her arm out, like peek out, and like we taught them the same way to cross the street. At times it gets frustrating as a father to be like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Um, I, I I often get questions around how are you teaching your kids around money? And not, I'm asking you this from a father's lens, not like
예.
a money
失礼します。
guru who teaches kids. I'm just curious, how do you approach that, teaching your kids about
이요.
money? You touched on it a little bit.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's at this point probably the extent of it. Now, they do have their own money. Oh, look, Logan has done it. I think Logan might have 5,000 as well. Kobe has like $200, whatever it is. And all the time I say, like, do you want to spend your money on this? If we're at the toy store, no, I'm not buying you a toy. Mommy bought you 4 things yesterday. Do you want this? This is $25. Do you want it? And most of the time he says no. So he's learned that mommy will buy him things, but that's it. I'm not. I don't think that I'm going to be a parent. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be, because I've learned that I'm very bad at predicting how I'm going to be in the future. I don't know if I'm going to be a personal finance parent, because I'm not really a personal finance guy. Like I never thought about saving and spending. I spent every dollar that I had so I worked from the time I was 16 to, I guess, I graduated college. Like, I was always working as either a valet parker or a bus boy or a cabana boy or a waiter. And yeah, I spent every dollar that I ever made. And that was my philosophy. Buying a lot of DVDs and weed and whatever else 18-year-olds spend their money on. So I don't know.
HMV, or not HMV, sorry, Blockbuster Rentals.
Blockbuster Rentals, yeah. No, they always had. They had DVDs, and it was, I think, like 2 used DVDs for 20, or I can't remember what it was, but something like that. And that's where I spent my money. So yeah, I don't know. That part of it, like, so I do talk a lot about, like, the value of money and this and that, but, like, as far as what I'm going to do for them in the future, and I don't know, I haven't thought about it. Right? Did I say I'm focused on today? I'll get there when I get there.
Exactly. But I was about to bring that you're obsessed about today. I had a researcher who studies teaching children about money, and I can't remember the results, but it was overwhelming. The social learning they get from watching mom and dad outperforms the vast majority of any sort of financial literacy intervention or course later on. So, I mean, I like your thing that you're dropping them off at the bus, giving them a hug, they're seeing you work hard. I'm saying this out loud because it makes me feel good too. They're seeing us do good work, so they're going to build that good work habit.
I guess I never really thought about it that way, but I firmly believe that everything is, you can't control how they're born, but the personality they're born with, but you can control what they see. And I'm just trying to be a good person and be a good dad, and hugs and kisses, and do the best I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we come down to an end here, I mean, I'm just one last question about the dad. What excites you the most about being a dad?
I don't know. What excites you the most about being a dad? I'm not sure how to answer that question. What would you say?
When I come in and they just like run towards me at the door, and my 9-year-old's not doing it as much anymore.
Yeah. Yesterday, I went to Starbucks, as I do many mornings, and I think Kobe thought I was going to the city, my 8-year-old, and it was early. It was probably 6:30, and he runs outside and says, "Daddy." I'm like, "What are you doing?" Robin called me. She goes, "He's outside." I said, "I know." He came outside and he said, "Kiss and a hug."
Oh, money can't buy that.
Nope.
That I appreciate that answer. They're at such a good age. I often think to myself, we're in the single digits soon.
So that part I think about a lot, like the inevitable asshole stage is coming. I don't know when it comes and when it ends, but for now they're very, very sweet boys, and I'm not trying to take any of it for granted, because I know it's gonna be over as soon as it started.
It seems so long in those hard moments, but then all of a sudden it's like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Well, Michael, I've enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate you leaning into some dad talk. Didn't mean to do that, but hey, here we are.
Happy to do it.
We talk a lot about balancing our time, energy, and money. So as we land this plane in the conversation, I'm curious how Michael looks at balancing, and it doesn't have to be balancing. How do you approach these 3 pillars, I think, in our lives: our time, energy, and money?
I don't have balance.
I wish I didn't say balance, because who has balance?
Yeah.
It's like,
I might be the worst person on the planet to ask this. I don't know that I have an answer that would be satisfactory for anybody or meaningful for anybody. What am I doing? What am I doing later? Or what am I doing now? What am I doing at what time is it? What am I doing at 2:00? Like, I'm very, 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 very much like, what am I doing in the next 90 minutes?
I guess you answered this when you said I'm obsessed about today.
Yeah. And
Or,
then
I mean, right now.
yeah, wherever
right now.
wherever like it shakes out is where it is.
Yeah.
But I don't. Again, I think like I've said probably 10 times on this, for better or for worse, because I think nothing's all good or all bad. There's trade offs with everything, but I seem to make it work for me, and I'm just doing the best I can.
I like this philosophy. I think too much. I think too much about the future, and sometimes I'm just gotta like be obsessed about right now.
Yeah,
And perhaps that's your answer. Your time, energy, and money's right here and there.
that's
Right
it.
here and now. Michael, thank you for this conversation. The final question that we've asked everyone is, I'm gonna get. You said reflecting wasn't always something you do, but we're gonna reflect now. You're at end of life. Doesn't matter how old you are. You're at end of life. You're still cognitively there. You're sitting on a front porch, looking out, something that gives you peace, ease, and contentment. And you decide to write one last blog about what you learned was a key for a meaningful life. What would you write about?
Boy, this is deep, huh?
Yeah, I'm going deep.
I think one of the best gifts my mother gave to me was, she always said, treat people the way you want to be treated. And I don't think that I've done that 100%. I don't think anybody has realistically, but I try. I try to do that the best I can. So I am a firm believer that if you put good energy out into the world, it comes back to you tenfold. So that's that.
Be kind and be obsessed about today is what I'm taking away from this. So thank you. I needed that. Michael,
Thank you.
I appreciated this. For listeners who don't know you already, where do they find you on the World Wide Web?
I guess you could find me either on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your things. I am at the Compound News. Is that what our thing is on YouTube? Man, I should know this, huh? Go to the Compound on YouTube, Animal Spirits, Compound and Friends. What are your thoughts? I'm not hard to find. Just Google me.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you for this and all the work you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was fun.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the YouPotential podcast with Michael Batnick. You know, he really reminded me of the importance of enjoying today, being present today, or as he says, being obsessed with today, and how it really does lead to so many other successes in our lives. If you've been enjoying these episodes, please head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, or wherever you find your podcast. Before we leave, I have my question that I'd like you to reflect on. Are you spending enough time with today, or are you just thinking about tomorrow? If you enjoyed this episode, I think you'll really enjoy episode number 20 with Matt Middleton. Until next week, take care.